We're getting set back up. We took a quick pause once I realized I had made a mistake.
So should we do like a quick recap on what happened?
Yeah, I'll recap it where we are once we get everyone. Well, I guess
So the night before,
you're sitting back there.
We had the dinner and we loaded up on harpoons, and then we went.
Yeah. So where we're at right now is just starting combat as 4 unknown elfish creatures have boarded their ship.
With 4 arms.
Yep, 4 armed elfish creatures. Alright, so...
And I'm the only one not on...
Yes,
up on
you
the deck.
are...
I'm down trying
You're
to
down
fix
below.
holes.
You're repairing people who are attempting to cut into the hull from what you've seen. Alright, so... we've rolled up initiative. What was your to hit, Fish?
That was a 15.
15? That does hit.
And I did the max damage, which was 9.
9 damage. You catch one right in the neck. It looks wounded, but you just see it kind of glare up at you. As if it didn't expect to get hit with a crossbow.
Oh, look
They
at
never
you.
do.
Should've gone for the knee.
Yeah. So what? They could
Galen.
Gallon?
Gallon.
Alright.
Galahad. Go.
Alright, well, I'm at the back of the ship, and you said
are.
they're all by the front.
Roll me perception.
Where's the...
22.
22. You see one climbing up and kind of standing on top of the rudder as it controls it. You see bits of rope dangling from talons.
Okay. I'm going to throw my dagger at it.
Alright, roll to hit.
Try not to that one and screw up the rudder. That is a 15.
15. 15 does hit.
Alright, quick question. When I throw my dagger, do I still add my dexterity to the damage?
Yes.
Okay, because I've never thrown a dagger in game before.
Well, now you have.
That is 5 damage.
5 damage. Just kind of gives it a couple cuts on the shoulder, down the torso. Dagger then splashes into the sea.
Goodbye, my friend.
I'm not sure where you expected that dagger to go, but...
I was just trying to get him off.
Okay. He's looking up at you like, hey!
The captain's still near me, right?
The captain is near you, fighting with control of the wheel.
Alright, I'm going to let him know that one of those... But I have seen those 4-armed elf things.
Yes.
That one of those 4-armed elf things are controlling the rudder.
He says, alright, make it stop.
I just threw a dagger at it.
Is it dead?
Not yet.
Has it stopped?
No.
Make it stop.
I'll try.
Alright. Gojira.
I guess I'm going to... I was kind of in the middle of the ship. How far away am I from this?
You would be about 10 feet from 2 that would have boarded. And about 20 feet from the other 2 boarders.
I got a bear trap
There's
I can
2
throw
in
out.
ship, 2 at the front with me, and then 1
One at the
back
front,
rudder.
1 in the back, 2 on each side.
Okay, I'm going to attack one of the closest ones.
Alright. Go ahead, step up to the stern facing one on the starboard side.
Man, I wouldn't have my backpack on me.
Nope.
No bear traps to be found.
17.
Hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
I only have 2 daggers. If I throw my last one, it doesn't kill him. What do I have?
Your personality.
4.
I don't have
4 damage. Alright. Weapon.
Unarmed.
Oh, unarmed. That's right. Monk. You punch it. It's not happy.
That being was... You have a rope near you.
Alright.
You know what to do.
It's broken.
Devin, go ahead.
There's something right on the end.
What? Okay, fine.
Devin?
Throw my shoe at
Okay,
it or
so
something.
I got one on top of me.
Yes.
I am cursing and then attempting to break free as soon as I grapple.
Yep. Go ahead and roll an opposed athletics check.
Alright, and I... first I'm going to roll my score, and then I'm using a luck point, because that's the fee I took.
Yep.
To see if he might take my a d20 instead of whatever you roll.
Okay. So go ahead and roll yours first.
Okay.
Now roll his.
He's not taking this one.
Okay. What is your roll?
My roll was a 4.
That's your strength score or your athletics check? 4?
Yeah, 4.
You struggle, but it's a bard struggling against something muscular, athletic,
Yeah,
and
used to that.
Can I still try to stab it?
yes.
I will attempt to stab.
Go ahead.
Roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make you a roll with disadvantage as he is pinning you down.
Okay.
A vicious mockery is always an option.
Natural 1.
Natural 1. You go to your weapon.
This is
Roll me
karma.
a percentage die, and you
No,
want
you know.
high.
Alright.
You know
Higher
how I
than
feel
50.
in your games.
28.
28. Your main weapon. You try to draw it. Bounce, bounce, splash.
I was already drew it.
You already had it.
Right.
You go to
Splash.
swing it. Bounce,
Oh.
bounce, splash.
Dang it.
It flies out of your hand and it's in the ocean somewhere.
It's 2 weapons lost.
I want to go up and throw something out overboard. I feel left out. I've got plenty of stuff I can get rid
There's
of.
always your body.
Can I use bonus action? I believe is bonus action. Correct. Inspiration is a bonus action. Correct.
Correct.
All right. Bonus action or inspiration to backseat.
Okay.
Alright. If I remember correctly, I just add D6 to whatever I roll.
Yes, it is a. Yep. To D6.
All right.
Little
You are
fishes,
inspired by the
fish
fact
sticks.
that you have seen the bard wrestling against an elf and then throwing his weapon overboard.
So
Kill it.
noble, struggling against an different universe.
No, he throws
Alright.
the bard throws his weapon overboard.
Sprout.
Take me.
Sprout, what are you doing? You hear kind of a commotion up there, but you're still in a mending battle with whatever's trying to dig through.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep on trying to keep the ship afloat
Okay.
versus going to see whatever else is going on. Probably keeping the ship afloat is a bigger priority than most anything else.
It's a good call. You're on a boat in the middle of an ocean.
Yeah,
Being afloat is a good thing.
yeah.
Especially if you're into backseat.
Interacting with chat. They said I'm not wearing a tie, and I was showing them I'm wearing a D&D shirt.
Yeah.
All right, so they're up. 2 of them close on our Slitherkai monk. The other 2 are engaging the various boatmen, and then the one is attempting. Slitherkai is the in-universe name for Dragonborn. As Dragonborn is kind of you look like a dragon, so that's going to count. All right, let's fix this that I bumped, because I tried to move and I break things when I move. All right, so 2 attacks. Monk's AC.
14.
14? You're fine. Then advantage stab on the bard. What's your AC?
That's right. Get it in him.
Like half of us aren't
14?
responding
That's
to
a
our
hit.
names or classes because we're all playing different things.
That's
the first
true.
time.
Yeah. So,
My ear is not attuned yet to mine.
2 points of damage.
Okay. I'm down to 7.
All right, and the other 2 engaging boatsmen. One of them strikes down one of the boatsmen. The other one is holding his ground. Oh, and then the guy on the rudder has a spear he can throw.
Let's just get all those weapons into the ocean.
Your AC?
14.
14. The guy on the you're looking down at the guy on the rudder, and all of a sudden the spear comes up and just kind of hits you in the shoulder. 4 points of damage.
Just
Yeah,
casually.
that's not too
He
bad.
traded. He traded a dagger for a spear.
Well,
I can throw this back at him.
Roll me a dexterity check to catch the spear before it falls back overboard.
It's a
DC
good,
10.
14.
14? Yeah, I would say you get hit with the spear and you're like, ow, and then realize, wait, I can throw that! And you quickly scramble, grab
Give him a menacing look as he knows what's about to happen.
it. So with that in mind, Fish, you're up.
Alright, I'm gonna take another shot at the one I shot at before.
Okay. It's the one that just struck down the boatsman.
Alright. And I was going to use
Rogue
inspiration.
have proficiency with this
So
one.
that helps.
I don't think I would.
It's a 12 to hit.
12 does hit.
Okay, good. It's only 4 damage though.
4 damage.
Mhm.
He drops.
Hey.
That was one of the mid.
That's one of the ones in the mid. Stern port side. Alright, so. That was fish. You're up.
Alright. Quick
You've got a
question.
spear? Yes.
Since it's a spear, I'm pretty sure I don't have proficiency. That's a
It's
strength
a
weapon,
throwing
right?
spear. I'll let you use dex for it.
Okay. Do I take any penalties for not being proficient in it?
I think
You don't
it's a
have
simple
proficiency
weapon.
bonus.
This is a simple weapon. You should have proficiency in it.
Oh, okay.
I think everyone has proficiency simple.
Okay, I do.
Okay, you're
So-
good. Chuck
You
it.
said oh, well, that's a 19 on the die, so I assume
Hits.
that hits.
Yep.
And what's the damage for that? A D6?
The ones they are using are 2d4.
2d4. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you said we were ruling it as dex, so I add my dex bonus.
Correct.
That is 7 damage.
7 damage. He kind of looks back over, square in the chest. Both of them go splash.
Hey. Yay.
Keep it a thing.
So he's off the rudder now.
Yes, he is off the rudder. The rudder, you see it kind of quickly right itself, and it appears to be responding to the captain's gestures.
Alright, job's done, Captain.
Alright, where are we at? Gojira.
I'm going to attack the same one I did last time.
Alright. Monk fist. Punch face. Maybe.
Natural 18.
Hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
3.
3 damage.
Should
Alright.
you roll a d4 since you're a monk?
I think monk would be D4.
D4?
I think
Yeah,
I'll
because they
say
have
D4
proficiency in unarmed strike.
What were you rolling?
I was flipping a coin.
Oh. Roll a D4, and because you've hit twice, we'll just take that entire D4 as damage. So, what's the...
Oh.
He's hit twice. So, instead of flipping the coin twice and doubling the damage. So, it's 2 extra damage.
Plus your dex or whatever.
No, because that's already been added to each individual
Okay.
hit. So, it's as if he had rolled 1 higher on each of his dice rolls, or coin flips. So, Devin.
I am going to again try and break out of this struggle fest
Alright, go for it.
because I'm pinned on the ground. I got a 10.
10? Nope.
Okay. Use my interaction to pull out my dagger.
Yep.
And attempt to stab.
Go for it.
Natural 20.
Natural 20, that's a crit.
Yep.
Double the damage die.
Double that D4.
So it's 6 damage total.
6 damage total, alright.
I'm basically pinned down, just shanking.
Yeah. So you find a good spot, and one of his forearms is completely disabled.
Hey.
3 more to go.
That's right.
He will have disadvantage attempting to wrestle you in the future.
Okay.
Or anyone for that matter. But I figure if you win a wrestling, he's not going to be in a good spot.
Alright. And Inspire goes rogue.
Okay. Sprout.
Play whack-a-mole.
Yep. Roll me a spell casting check, adding your spell attack modifier. We're
Seven.
figuring out who's winning the race here.
17.
You are winning the race, but just barely. All right.
18.
So,
Well, you're the one to keep.
at this point, you do hear multiple taps coming from underneath you, though, almost as if whatever was doing it was like, get over here. This ship keeps fixing itself. So, they're up.
might need another one.
Stab the bard. Oh, let's roll it into the fancy roll where everyone can see it. 21 hits, yes?
Yes, it does.
6 points of damage.
I'm down to 1.
And the 2 attacks on our monk friend. 1 hit. 5 points of damage. And then the one that's fighting a bozeman. Miss. Perception's all. Well, all except Sprout.
Oof. That is a 8.
16.
8.
I suppose I can take my pass.
10s plus, you can hear boat 2 splinter.
Well, I'm not high enough up to see it, so.
You can't really see what happened, but you hear mass splintering of wood sounds coming from the next boat over. So that's 5 boats in line. Boat 3 went down first. Boat 5 exploded. Boat 2 is now at a mystery setting, and a green fog was enveloping boat number 4.
We're the only book.
Did we get-
almost 100%?
Did we get a 15 plus on any of the
I
perceptions?
had 16.
Roll me a Constitution saving throw.
That's 19.
You hear it in the back of your head. Almost as if it is somebody screaming at the top of their lungs at a distance, and nobody's breathing. So it's just, and you hear it, like, almost as if it's in the distance, but it could be anywhere. There's no direction to the sound.
I feel my ears are fully perked.
So, with that in mind, Fish, you're up.
So I was trying to take a shot at another one.
Go for it. Which one?
Let's see.
Bozeman, there's 2 fighting the monk, one that he's punched, and there's 1 fighting the bard who has been shivved, and you see one of his arms just hanging limp.
I'll go for the one that the monks punched.
Alright,
Nat 20.
Hey.
alright, double the damage die.
It's double and not rolling 2.
You could, sorry, I prefer you to roll 2 damage die. Because that gives you a higher average, and it also it makes crits less bust, or what's the other one? Less bust.
Yeah.
Also less, I just rolled max damage and now it's double.
So that is 13 damage.
13 damage. Clear through the neck. The monk sees the bolt in the front and it falls down dead.
And I'm just clutching my head, trying to
Yep.
keep
Gujira.
up headache.
I imagine like flat, angry cat ears.
Actually, sorry, Galan, you're up.
Alright, see. I'm currently
You're
by the
about
cabinet.
50 feet from the nearest... Because both the back ones have been killed. You're about 90 feet from the nearest.
What was the range for throwing a dagger?
2060, I think?
Not close enough. I'll move and dash to get as close as I can.
Alright, what's your speed?
30.
30, so you close 60 feet. They're now 30 feet away from you.
Alright.
You're running up the middle of the boat. Gojira.
How far am I from the closest?
There's one engaged with you.
Oh, he's still up?
There were... You had engaged one, another had come to assist him.
Okay. I'm gonna try and punch him.
Go for it.
19.
Alright, hits.
6.
Alrighty. And Devin.
Give you a bardic inspiration.
Can you add that to damage?
No.
No, but when
When he rolls attack, gotcha.
It's a D6.
Did you
so
use
it's an attack.
your inspiration yet? Or do you still have it?
I think she still
I
has
already
it.
used it.
Oh, you used it? Okay.
Okay.
You guys are keeping track of that. So, Devin, you have advantage if you're going to try to wrestle out.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and wrestle out. 19.
You kind of throw yourself out, roll up, and you're on your feet. That's your entire move action.
Okay. I got a dagger, but it doesn't quite do enough damage. I'm gonna go ahead and try and stab him with
All right.
the dagger. I got a 18.
Hits.
All right.
And roll up damage.
6 damage.
6 damage. As you were rolling out, in fact, you were able to do a cut that finished the creature off.
Hey.
Everyone at this point, I want you to go ahead and roll... Actually, nobody needs to roll perception, because at this point you all hear it. The same screaming, only this time louder. Everyone needs to give me a Constitution saving throw.
13.
14.
16.
11.
Alright, if you had... What'd you get?
12.
If you had less than 10, you immediately fall unconscious. You hear the screaming and just... Those of you who had above 10 but less than 15, who was that? Okay.
Almost the entire table.
You hear the screaming and you begin to see almost the scream begin to burn the fog away. The tapping you would hear on the base of the ship completely ceases. And then you fall unconscious.
So I fall off the mess.
Yes.
Well, we still got
Person
one
has
guy.
like thirst
Save
for
us.
Yeah, 1d6 per 10 feet
Plenty
falling.
of
Oh,
rounds.
that's right.
Yeah.
Like, as compared to being at the very, very tip top of the
This is
mast.
a good thing, yes.
Oh, he said he left.
14 points of damage.
I'm unconscious, not dead, but just unconscious.
All right.
Like down.
What's your hit point? Current hit points.
11. And
You're
then-
bleeding out on deck. And then you had above 15. So you can see as you guys emerge from the fog, you kind of look over, you can see that ship 4, it looks worse for wear. It's kind of veering down the coast, almost under its own power. You don't really see anyone moving. You see a bright light just shining brighter than the sun in front of you, approaching from the coast. You also see 2 creatures, an elf and a goblin, approaching, walking on water. And then you fall unconscious.
You got to get a sneak peek of Goblin.
Nobody got higher than 20. So,
Let's see, what was it that approached us?
you don't know.
That's true.
The only one who saw it was Gojira, and only thing he saw was a bright sun-like light, an elf and a goblin flanking it, approaching the ship. You guys awake. You're on land, or at least you assume you are, as you don't feel the movement of the waves beneath you.
Am I stabilized?
You're awake, therefore yes.
Okay. So I get 1 hit point.
You are at full hit points. Everyone is.
Yay.
It's been
We've been asleep for a week.
it's been actually 3 days,
Oh.
which has transferred you over a long rest.
What will I see when I wake
So
up?
what you guys see when you wake up is you are all in a common room, but a nice common room.
It's better than a ship.
Everything appears to be made of heavy-set stone, large blocks that you would estimate probably weigh just under a ton each. And you see that there is an elf walking among you. As it's walking around, you see it using various spells. Casting, doing some healing. Then you'll see it like hovering over someone, just focusing on a spell.
So is it just us, or is it everyone that was on the ship? Just kind of
You can see various other people from the ship present, though not the entire ship's population. The room is not large enough to contain them.
Alright.
This room could comfortably hold 30 people. It's got about 50 in it.
I'm gonna check for my associates.
You can see them around you. It's almost as if they had known you guys were the ones leading the expedition, and you are set aside almost at the head of the group.
Okay.
Would I have noticed that elf is the same one I see?
Yes.
Do I see
You
the
would
goblin?
do you see what?
The goblin.
No. Nor the bright sunlight.
Oh, there's no sunlight. Oh no.
Is the elf near me?
The elf would be maybe about 20 feet from you guys, just tending to some of the others.
Alright, I'm gonna kind of sit up.
As soon as you move, you see the elf just kind of look over at you.
Kind of look literally around and kind of to
Yeah.
her. Just,
She approaches. Etha, greetings.
how do you spell that?
Etha. I see you are all starting to wake. This is good.
Where are we?
You are where you intended to be, at Colonists' Landing. It appears we had guessed correctly this time. Words will be had. Let us get and rouse the rest of your companions. They've slept for enough.
Give a nod and kind of get my faculties.
Yeah.
check stuff.
Before long, you see the goblin wander in. They awake? Good. I go rouse keeper. And you see him just kind of skitter out of the room. We will be going over to the keeper's halls. This is a small commune we've had. If it matters to you, I would advise you not cast spells. Unless you have the power to maintain them, the results of casting them at the moment would possibly be catastrophic to your life and well-being. Not by us telling you not to, but by the very forces of nature where you are.
Would we be familiar with the room?
She's basically saying you're in a runic bubble.
Yeah.
Don't try to cast spells because they can backfire. And when they backfire, bad
include,
happens.
innate abilities?
It would not. Cantrips are also permissible, as they don't drastically affect the runic bubble. So,
I've been cleaned off.
yep. You guys have been prestidigitationed all nice. So,
Magic sponge bath.
yes, you've had your magic sponge bath. And you guys are brought out, led out into... I say brought out. She's more... remind myself of her name. Etha is... Alright, we'll go ahead and go. The rest here, they will continue to sleep for some time. But I expect them to wake within the day. As you walk out, you realize she called it a compound. That might have been a bit generous. There's the large building you're in and a couple other small stone huts. You imagine it could maybe hold 200 people. And there's a small wall, maybe 7 feet of stone, surrounding it, built into the side of the mountain. As you guys begin to approach what you would assume to be the keeper's hut, you see the goblin just kind of stick his head out, stick his head back in, stick his head back out again, stick his head back in. You all approach, the door is open, Ethel leads you in, and what you can see is the goblin is kind of seated. There's a large round table here, heavy set, nice craftsmanship in the wood. Chairs are set aside for 5 of you. There is the goblin who is occupying 1 seat. He is occupied, so you see that there's room for 7. Oh, we are +1. Perfect timing.
6 chairs it is.
There are 6 chairs available.
I pull
Well,
another chair up.
yeah. So oddly, there were actually technically 7 chairs available. You guys are utilizing 6 of them. At this point, it just means the keeper's occupying the 7th. So, what you're able to see in the room is there's 3 seating banks. One that the goblin is sitting in, one that you see almost a coffin-like container propped up at an angle, 45 degrees, and you can see a dwarf on it. Of that, the only reason you know it's a dwarf is you see a beard and the lower half of a body. Everything from about chest higher is under a hard plaque made of like an enamel, just white, and including a full face mask.
Is it a face
He
mask
is
blank?
seated. It is entirely pallid, so featureless, save for a spot for him to breathe and for the beard to flow out as it runs over the lower part. He is seated in the first seat of one of the seating banks. The goblin is seated in the 7th seat of one of the seating banks, and the elf motions for you to sit at the table, then takes the 3rd seat of the middle seating bank.
Okay. I guess they sit down where they...
As you sit, the goblin speaks first. Sutu, goblin, 7th of the sword line. He sits after saying that. Etha stands back up. Etha, 3rd of the spell line, sits. The dwarf, without moving, Arkoth, 1st of the divine line, sits. At which point the keeper stands and begins to address you all by name. Fish, Rexar, Galan, Sprout, Gojira, Devon. We greet you. You may be seated.
Sit down.
what was the dwarf's name real quick?
The dwarf's name is Arkoth, Arkoth.
I guess I'll thank them first for their timely rescue.
The keeper nods. We have been set here. We have been set at this location since the last expedition, awaiting your arrival. We knew it would befall the same fate as the others. It was our endeavor to save you. It appears we have succeeded, at least in part. Suttu.
So, do you have any news of the other voyages? Did they make it successfully?
You are the 8th voyage. All voyages have arrived successfully, in part or in full.
Awesome.
Keeper Akath, Akath, the human keeper in front of you. He and the Goblin Sutu arrived in the last voyage. However, they were picked from the water of the last voyage.
What was the human's name again?
Akath, Akath.
What was his title?
Keeper. It is a self-appointed title of their settlement.
Okay. What's their settlement called? Is it just
Banik Atsul. BANIKATZUL.
I got the beat, that was it.
So,
As long as somebody has it.
Alright. Can they tell us what we encountered on the journey here?
You have encountered She Who Swims. All we know is that she was a member of the first voyage. The first voyage was the most successful one. It was built as we're going to colonize rather than try to get people to come and join. And as such, they never attempted to reach back to the group. But when they finally were pulling together a party to send out, They found all of their ships had been wrecked, and they saw her at that time. That was 375 years ago.
Okay. We're happy you're all alive. We feared you were all dead.
Well,
We are
lost
all
some
who
ships.
is left alive. Us and the roughly 20 people at our settlement.
From all the voyages?
That is correct. The vast majority died at sea. Of the first voyage, we had maybe 3,000. Some have gone north to join the raiders. However, we are all that is left that have remained loyal to the cause.
And who are these raiders? Just people that...
The Northern Raiders, they existed before we came here. They occupy a similar... they're similar races to what you'd expect to find in the islands. However, they've gone towards barbarism and savagery to survive their location and the environment that is this cursed continent.
Okay. What are their plans for us? We're just going to join?
You are to continue with your mission. However, he indicates, we have maintained the bulk of a boat that we intend to be able to clear out and get out of here. We are also aware of a large rune that will likely be able to shield a sizable settlement. We have 2 such sites noted. You guys will be given your choice of which site you are wanting. It is advised you set up a settlement there. Once that settlement is set up, we'll work on getting the boat out. Or if you guys want to get the boat out first, you can focus on that. Their intent is to use the remainder of their magic to defend this post, as they have been doing for, well, in the case of Arkoth, for roughly 400 years.
Alright. Let's see. What can they tell us about these 2 locations?
So the 2 different spots that they have identified as good for settlement is the first, which was the intended capital of the first expedition. There is a 2-tiered rune that exists in the mountains. A naturally defensible position, central to the continent, easy access to a river.
Is there anyone, like any raiders living in those ruins right now?
Raiders no, though beasts likely have set them up as a base of operations, as there is also the abandoned mine that runs underneath it.
Is there any access to farmland?
From that city, no. The second spot they've identified was the intended main trading port of the realm. It has a rune, just a simple 1-layer rune, but these 1-layer runes are almost the size of city blocks nowadays. So sizable enough that a large city could be built. It is adjacent to the ocean at the mouth of a large river. Ample field lands surround it for farming. Only problem therein is it's near the water. Well, she who swims loves the ocean. That is why they've given her that name. It is far more vulnerable to her raids.
I'd still say 2, just because the farmland's most important, otherwise we're going to be hunting. I don't know what's hunting here. Yeah, or to defend ourselves, but if we can set us a decent fortification quickly.
And at the mountain, we'd also have to clear out the mines, which could be more problematic, potentially.
Well, I view it as once we get a colony start, we can always do the second places like a military fort, or like that's another outpost to ship materials and minerals, trade them.
What is the distance between the 2 locations?
Distance between the 2 locations, if I remember correctly, a couple 100 miles.
Gotcha.
Now, is she who swims the one who is creating that fog, or Is it like
Yes.
a hive mind of
That
those,
is- that is
four-armed
her
elf
magic.
things?
That creates the fog.
Alright, so what are those elfish things?
Those are the remains of the settlers that she overtook.
Oh,
It is likely that any boats she claimed of your group suffered the same fate.
Which was 3, and then we had a 4th one going down the shoreline.
Yes, the 4th boat, we attempted to signal it, but it appeared to be going full sail, and it was drifting the other direction of the coast. We opted to preserve you in safety rather than pursue it.
Do they know what's in the direction that it went?
Rocks, a reef, it'll likely get stuck and crash.
Okay. What are you guys saying about the witch settlement and stuff like that?
You don't need to make that decision now. Your immediate decision is going to be, hey, you guys should probably go investigate that boat.
Alright.
Any survivors need to be tended to. They will be using their magic to protect your people here. The ship you guys were on was the flagship. It was not heavily laden with supplies. It was one of the passenger ships.
Alright.
Their food can support you guys for a while, but they've been farming for 20, not what's currently 120.
Okay, can I try, I guess we'll go investigate the boat. Can I try and find a replacement rapier?
Yes, we have a small cache of weapons. They're basic, mundane, nothing fancy. We can give you a rapier.
Sweet. Try not to lose this one. Alright. Anything else anyone wants to do? No?
is there any more information you could give us on she who swims?
What we know is she is based somewhere around the southern place of the continent. Or sorry, the northern coast of the continent. They describe the continent to you that there's kind of a jutting bit of it that goes up to the Arctic, so there's no like northern passage to circumnavigate. She is based somewhere around the north, which is where this port city is.
Alright.
They are not located in the same spot, but they're both north.
And in relation to her, where is the second settlement option?
In her main stomping grounds.
Oh, okay.
They're both north coast. With that in mind, they don't have specifics. They've not attempted to track her down. They know she moves around, but she's stayed focused up there.
Do you have a map of the general area or the general shape of the continent?
They can commission one for you. They don't keep one on hand because when they were hurriedly moving stuff here, it wasn't their main priority. They know the western coast fairly well, which is primarily a mountain range that goes up into frozen tundra. Then it loops down to the southern bit of the continent. The southern third of the continent is all jungle and inhabited by, quote-unquote, an empire of giants. They do not venture to the northern part of the continent. There's a mountain range separating the two, and they could, they don't.
Because bad things.
At this point, Erkoth speaks up, and every time he is talking, it is shrill to your, I say ears, he speaks into your head. But it is shrill yelling, and you can hear him kind of almost raspily voice the words, the continent is cursed. What can happen will happen.
So generally it's kind of like a bad luck thing?
The northern continent is bad luck.
Okay. I guess we'll have to go follow this shit. Do they recommend any travel?
Bring any mountaineering gear you have, as you will be traveling the mountains.
Okay.
Now, earlier when we were on the ship, we only had like say sidearms and whatnot. We didn't.
You
have
have
our
anything
backpacks.
that if it's on your character sheet, it's now assumed you have it.
All right, I just wanted to make
Yep.
sure.
Your ship was recovered in full, though as part of the recovery, it is not seaworthy in the least anymore. Large sections of the underhull were gouged out, and repairing it would be. Yep.
Alright,
And none of us
before we
know.
want to mention to one of them,
Sorry.
if by the time we return, or if we've commissioned this map, if they could also list like known settlements / governments and their relation status, like whether they are kill us or whether or not they don't care. Or...
There are no governments save for the raiders to the north. They will kill you.
Okay, easy.
I guess the Empire of the Giants counts. The same result. They will kill you.
You said empire, man.
Yes,
It's a government.
it's true. They will kill you.
Okay.
Like kill as in accidentally step on us, or kill.
Feast upon thy innards, and maybe roast thy upon a splint.
Gotcha.
Alright, I guess I'll ready myself to go.
Lucky you have not the frame of a Loxodon.
I thought about making a Loxodon monk. I'm glad I didn't.
So,
If there's any information available for map wise, I can make our own copy
yeah.
and get that at least started.
Yeah, I think I met a guy that is one of the crew that might be able to help with that.
With
Making a map or like
I can
general,
make maps.
or general like geology and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. You guys, the keeper adjourns the session. As they're stepping out, you see that they have an array of candles. There are 7 circles of candles going out that have various degrees of having been lit and burned. There is now an 8th row that is added. Each of the 8th row candles is lit. 6 candles in total. Then of the other candles, you see 1 of the inner ring, 1 of the 3rd ring, and 2 of the 7th ring get lit. And they step out.
Okay.
All right, so you guys are led back into the main area where various other people are starting to get up and move around. The dwarf is being kind of carted around by people who kind of have his coffin on. I forget what the term is, but basically sticks that are carrying him around. And just so that he is getting a look about as they turn him around to, there's that, there's this, because his entire upper body is restrained by the mask he is wearing. The goblin is just kind of moving around, appears to be commanding various guardsmen who are about. You guys enter into the main area, and various citizens have been kind of getting with each other, like, hey, we're up, hey, we're still alive. Wait a minute, we're still alive, this is great. You guys are approached by 3 of the citizens, Jack, Iolo, and Felix. They approach Devin specifically.
I shake him, glad they were awake, and I kind of greet them and basically inform them about what we know has happened recently. One of them I indicate to Sprout. This is my geologist friend.
Jack kind of nods. Greetings, sir.
Hello.
I tell Jack that they told us about 2 locations that might be have a prospective settlement location. Although one of them is by the ocean, it's also close to the thing that occurred, and The other is in the mountains, where there, from what we hear, is an abandoned mine, which might be beneficial and a lot more defensible. If you could inform people that might need to know that.
He nods. Yes, I will make note. The mountain. Did they mention if they have any of the underground farms or farming area in the mountain? This is a thing known to dwarves. That is actually Iolo speaking up.
Okay.
Iolo is a dwarf, Jack is a human, Felix is a half-elf.
How do you farm underground?
Mushrooms. Plump helmets. Various wheats actually will grow without light as well.
Really?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask the
Because if you get an underground farm, that would definitely be a
Arkoth.
better choice.
Arkoth, if he knows anything about that.
Various screeching kicks into your back of the mind, immediately followed by, yes, there is food. The settlement is self-sufficient.
Sweet. Thank him. Give the good news. We will be going after what apparently was the fourth ship we saw sailing down the river. I assume Elo, the geologist, might want to come with.
Elo. Yes, mountain travel. This should be easy.
Okay. And I'll advise Jax and Felix to figure out what our supplies or situation is and inform everyone of what's going on.
Felix just kind of chuckles. I've finished the inventory.
I'm fully aware, Felix.
Seth,
Yes.
while we were in the meeting and talking about this potential settlement areas, did they mention anything about sources of water near the first area in the mountains?
It has a spring. It is.
Okay.
It has a river and a spring that runs down to the river.
Okay, good. I missed that.
Whining about camera settings. The plan is to get a second camera so I can get everyone in.
It'll get better.
We're doing our best.
I just got a giant mirror right here.
There we go. Yeah, I'll set that back. That'll help a little bit.
Well, it'll get better.
Yeah. All right.
Can you all hear us okay, or
They haven't whined about that yet.
All right.
So.
Well, yeah.
They will now.
All right. Don't tell them they can whine. All right. So. Source of water. Any other questions or preparations? Jack hands Elo a book so that he can take notes while he's out, as Jack appears to have had a diary or journal he's been writing in.
I would like to get, if available, just some parchment and
Jack is
ink
able to
work-
provide you with a travel ink and some parchment to write
just
on.
to try to work on maps as needed.
Yep.
I'm going to include, see if we have a second bedroll just to get Elo's second bedroll.
Okay. Each of the various civilians all has their own kind of basic travel type gear that they would have had with them.
Okay.
So they have sleeping stuff.
Okay, sweet. How are you?
All right. It's relative morning as you guys had just woken up, so now is a great time to begin the voyage. It's going to be mountains and rough travel. Get ready for it.
Oh boy.
Make sure we get some rope.
Yep. When I said they have their own kit, explorers packs. They've got rope, grappling hooks.
Okay,
They're
sweet.
They're equipped to travel.
Alright.
Whether the party is or not, that's a separate matter.
And not for
Is
long.
Is it cold mountain or just rocky?
It's
difficult terrain?
primarily rocky, especially here near the coast. It gets a lot of rain, but it's relatively steep, so, I mean, there's paths you can take. Having a dwarf with you will aid in that, as he will... There's a mountain. Yeah, we're just going to walk over there, and we're going to cross up there, and we'll just cut across that ridge. It'll be fine. Does anyone have, like, a scout or outlander background? 3 hands. Okay.
All
You
3
got-
Outlanders.
Yes.
I mean,
You guys will also...
we're coming to colonize a new continent. Yeah.
It makes sense. So you guys will be able to also easily be able to do the same thing. Yeah, here's where we're going to cross. You'll
Just
have
like the homeland.
You'll have advantage on survival checks to cross terrain here.
Sweet.
Let me know if you need a locksmith.
Your time will come.
All right.
Now.
One day.
I had traveling tune, I guess.
Yep. So what I'll do? What two people are being appointed as guides?
Okay.
Druid is one. Tabaxi is the other. Orc is the other.
I'll go for it.
Orc is the other. All right.
What's your character's name, by the way?
He goes.
Yeah,
His character name is Rexar, but he goes by Rex, and I haven't gotten.
Because when he gets in combat, man, he wrecks.
That's not at all why the name.
So,
But we'll go with that.
It is now.
It is now.
And you're half-orc,
he's a
barbarian.
Half-orc barbarian.
Alright.
Yes, I guess go with this mount.
What's he grabbing?
A dragon.
Yes. We're all gonna die. Woo! Just what I wanted.
All right.
Dragon
So
brought him, right?
Specifically to seduce dragons.
Hold my beer. I can't speak your tongue, but I'll try this.
Hold on, I'll give you the help action.
you grab the demon book.
What's funny
Why are you
is-
surprised when you
Funny
find
because
demons?
as a lucky thief, I can make it critically. I might be able to make it critically fail.
If you want to do that, I'll let you use my dice. They're good at failing. Well, at least the ones that
Mine
I've walked
are
away.
this session.
Yeah, this session, not when you DM.
As a perception, 10 plus.
All right.
Your
Perception.
So you guys begin your journey. I'll take survival rolls from the two people on point. You both have Outlander. You may take advantage.